Hello out there, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel, Paul's World of Entertainment. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you are returning, welcome back. Please also hit the like button, as that does help out my channel. This video I'm going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their third win, going over the Houston Texans, 28-21. And I'm also going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates and their season finishing at 19-41. And so to begin with this with the Steelers, it wasn't pretty. Once again, it was not pretty. It was not a pretty. It was not a like flawless type of game, but they got it done, and they did trail for quite a bit of the game, but they came ahead at the end, and they got a turnover. It took them till near the end of the game to finally get a turnover, but it turned out to come at the most opportune time, and that is really what that's what really propelled them to a win, and they went to 3-0. The offense, once again, the offense looked good, not great, but it looked good. The defense, basically the same thing. They're not polished yet. More is coming. I expect them to get better as the season goes along. And again, they beat a Texan team that was going to 0-3, so they weren't exactly facing the top level in terms of competition in this game. But they did get the job done. And again, I expect the Steelers to get stronger as the season progresses, as they normally do. They normally start slow. So when you're starting slow and you're 3-0, I'll take it. In fact, I actually did not expect this. I actually considered this to be a trap game, and I was actually concerned that they would lose this game. They would be because again, with the history of starting slow and the Texans being desperate, I actually feared that they could actually lose this game. It was basically part of a trap game, but they did get the job done, and so, that great. That's great. And looking down the road, this competition is going to get a lot tougher, but the Steelers will play better as the season progresses as well. So I mean, obviously, no team goes 16-0, has gone 16-0 since the 1970 Dolphins. So there are going to be losses along the way, but at least as of now, they're still undefeated. There are still a few teams in the NFL that are still undefeated. Not a lot, but they are among them. I was actually a bit concerned with Chase Claypool with the drops, not being able to haul in catches. I expect a lot from him. I feel that he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of basic gifts, natural gifts that really could turn him into a premier receiver. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his career ends up progressing. But and when you had him in the mix with also bringing in Eric Ebron, and they have a lot of weapons now on offense. Now Ben Roethlisberger throwing the football again this year, and to go along with Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson, who actually was hurt today. So we'll see how that goes. But they still have Dwayne Washington, and they still have Vance McDonald as well. So they do have quite a few weapons. And as the season goes along, I expect that they're going to get better. They will play better, and they will really start to dominate more games. At least that's what certainly what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting by the time December rolls around that they're not just winning by 3 points or a touchdown. I'm expecting them to start rolling over teams, but at that point. But that's not to say they're going to do that with all teams. They're not going to roll over Baltimore. They're not going to roll over New England, or if they or teams like that. They're going to be they're going to be tight games. Those are also very, very good teams. So, among teams that could represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, of course, those are definitely two of them, along with a number of others, Tennessee and Buffalo. But we'll see. Now, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, the Pirates. Um, the Pirates ended up finishing their season 19-41 with the worst record in Major League Baseball. The team had quite a number of injuries in their pitching staff, especially at the top of their pitching among their top pitchers. They were ended up being without, and their lineup, almost the entire lineup, top to bottom, underachieved this year, and really did not put up the numbers that player by player they would normally be putting up. Why that is, that's a good guess. Although I mean, to me, that comes down to coaching. When the entire team's not performing, very well, you have to go to coaching. It's one thing if you have one or two players, but when it's the entire team, which it was for the Pirates, this different. You have to go with more of the coaching. Now, granted, on the other side of the coin, they actually started to improve. And that 19-41, that's with them winning 4 out of their last 6 games. So, including when they swept the Cubs, and then they lost 2 out of 3, but they still took 1 out of 3 against Cleveland. So, in spite of winning 4 of their last 6 games, they still finished 19-41. So that is bad, and they were several games behind the Texas Rangers for the worst record in Major League Baseball. And again, it would be easy to sit here and say that they need to get a new team or they need to get all new players, but honestly, I really don't think they do. had those players performed at their normal level, what they normally perform at in a given year, the outcome of the season could have been a whole lot different. But they didn't. And again, when you're looking at it from a team standpoint, now it's also only the first year of a new coaching staff, so you want to give the you don't want to part ways with a coaching staff too quickly. You want to give them a fair chance. There can be the beginning, whenever you bring in a new coaching staff, it can be very positive right from the start, or it can take some time and you can end up taking a step backwards before you can take 2 steps forward. So from that standpoint, I would give the coaching staff kind of the benefit of the doubt at this point. I wouldn't try to do any wholesale changes with the team at this point. Obviously you're going to make some changes and you want to upgrade the team at as much as what you can, but given the teams, obviously they're not looking to pay a lot for players, so they're not going to go out and sign a big time free agent. They're not going to be out signing the best free agents on the market. So with that, you have what you have, and you're going to want to try to make some adjustments and some improvements. But again, if that team would have performed the way they did even the year before, when they also ended up finishing very poorly, but from a lineup standpoint, they actually hit a lot better, and pitching was a problem. This time, it was really the hitting that was a problem. They could not score runs, but the positive thing is that towards the end of the season, the pitching staff really started to get it together, and they were they were not giving up many runs, and that is actually a good start, and can hopefully can carry over to next season. And the way that the season ended is actually the way that ended, the way the season ended, because of how short the season was. It was only 60 games. And I was hoping they could get off to a good start and catch teams off guard. And that's why I predicted, where I was, really hoping that they could do that. And if they could do that, they could end up having a decent season. But they end up getting off to a really, really slow start. And they finally started to get it together right at the end when it was way, way too late. But going into next year, there's hope. Um, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening as far as what they do as far as their roster goes. But they're going to have their top pitchers coming back from being, they're going to be healthy, and so with the healthy pitching staff, and if their hitting can go back to what it was in prior years, they can be a much improved team going into next year. But yeah, there's at this point that's where I see it. I know a lot of people out there will say that they need to make a complete overhaul of the team, overhaul of the coaching staff, but it's still a new coaching staff. They've only had one season. It was an abbreviated season at that. And as far as the team itself goes, they just did not hit. And early in the season, they did not pitch. And it wasn't until right around basically the end of the season that the pitching staff started to get it together. And so, yeah, I would try to do your best to work with what you have. Try to make some improvements here and there, but they're not going to be a team that's going to be out trying to sign the top free agents. So you're going to be growing from within anyways. What I would definitely do is try to improve your minor league system. That is extremely important. I feel like that watching the team throughout the season, that a lot of the fundamentals that should be ingrained, they were making mistakes that Major League Baseball players have no business making. And they were finally started to get that cleaned up a bit towards the end of the season. And that could be, that could be where the coaching was starting to actually help. So, yeah, I would certainly give it at least another year with this coaching staff, and do what you can as far as the roster goes to make some improvements. But I actually wouldn't overhaul the whole team. There's still a lot of young players on the team, and so that those players can take time to develop, and sometimes they end up taking a step back in order to take two steps forward. Brian Reynolds, I look at Newman. These are players that can hit. Frazier's been around for a while, but he's proven that he can hit. Of course, Bell has the power, and when he has a full season, I'm sure he will go back to hitting home runs and putting up numbers again. But now they have Polanco. They still have Polanco. Polanco can hit. And they have also they have their new third baseman, who just came up also close to the end of the season, and he looks to be he could be very good, and his name is skipping my mind at the moment, but he looks like he looks like he's already the best player on the team, and he actually had the best batting average actually by far, and so yeah, there's potential there. So at this point, I would stay with what I have, try to make some improvements here and there. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And as far as the Steelers go, I think they're good to go, and they're starting slowly like they normally do, but they're still winning. So I have a lot of optimism for the Steelers going into the rest of the season, especially and particularly if they can stay healthy. That is extremely important. The team needs to overall stay healthy. I mean, you're going to have injuries. Every team goes through injuries, but whenever you do, the players that are behind them have to step up and perform. And you want to try to limit the injuries. If you, no matter what, if you take on too many, the more injuries you take on, it eventually it catches up to you, and it catches up to a team. There's a reason why backups are backups. And as you take on more and more injuries, the level of competition when you're going up against, the best of the best on other teams, the more, if you have a lot of injuries, it's going to take its toll, and it's going to turn into losses. And so that's also a big variable, and that's in any professional sport, whether it is football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Injuries are always a big part of the game. And the teams that can stay the healthiest tend to also do the best. But that'll do it for this video. This is a video that's covering both the Steelers and the Pirates in this video. So please, again, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. And also, please hit the like button. And that'll give you more update. And actually, subscribing will give you more updates. Just hitting the like button just helps my channel. And again, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I very much appreciate it. And everybody have a wonderful day.